All right, welcome back to the Tap Takeover podcast video series, and this is a fun day for us. We contacted Henry about a couple weeks ago and asked him to help us out with a collaboration beer or something that we can do for a 1-year anniversary that's coming up in January. Henry's idea was, hey, we can actually do the whole process of the crowdsourcing, so we can show you behind the curtain so you can see how everything is actually done. Because right now everybody thinks Mobcraft crowdsourcing, but what is that really? So Henry, do you want to just kind of tell people what we're going to go through this process?
Yeah, definitely. So, when you got a hold of me, it was like, oh, this is a great idea. Since we've interviewed with you guys 8 months ago or so, you've obviously gone and interviewed a billion other awesome breweries and have made quite the name for yourselves. So when you said, I want to make a beer, I was like, hey, that's what we do. We turn ideas into beer. The whole entire model that we operate in operates under that same premise. So I wanted to go through the whole process of how we come up with ideas, how we vet those ideas, and then eventually, once those beers get up for a vote, what we do to go through and brew them.
Nice. Well, it's really nice to be back at kind of the scene of the crime, of our 4th episode at Mobcraft Brewing here. Henry, it was really fun for you to have sat down with us the first time, talking about your sour barrel aging program and all the fun beers that you guys do. And it's been amazing that you're willing to sit down with us guys who just really like to drink beer, and
So do I.
Create this beer with us. This is a lot of fun.
All right, so I guess where do we start? It's ideas right now. So it's like we want a beer that kind of defines us.
Yeah.
So right now we're really into the dark beers, heavy beers. What does that mean for your scheduling, and is that something that's doable?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing that I want to talk about is, so you come in with this with an idea. When we're doing our crowdsourced beers, it's that exact same thing. So it's perfect you saying, we want a dark beer. That's a great spot to start. You don't have to start out with, this is my grain build, this is my mash temperature, I want to hit this, original gravity, I want it to finish at this Plato, and you don't have to be that scientific and nerdy. You know what you like.
That's why we left Jim at home.
Perfect. So that's a great framework to start within. But even more than just a dark beer, because there's so much difference in variation, you could have a 2% ABV dark beer. Do you guys want a 2% ABV dark beer?
Absolutely not.
Okay, all right.
Isn't it just water?
That would go against everything we believe in.
So muddy water is out. So we're looking something a lot more on the rich, higher ABV side of things. Decent malt backbone. And that's why I'm glad that I have my business partner and head brewer here, Andrew Gierzak, who is like the king of malty AF beers.
So, starting off, it sounds like you guys are leaning more towards porters and stouts right now. I doubt you guys want to do like a Schwarzbier, like a dark lager or anything like that. You're probably going to want to
Yes,
go a
and
little
the
bit
other
heavier.
part was the time of year. We like these hazy, fresh IPAs, but the timing, we didn't think it was appropriate, or
Yep.
we wouldn't. We're not going to be in the mood for that in January, February.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
you
kinda
guys are going to
thinking
want a
about-
nice, robust, rich, dark beer to satisfy and slake your winter woes.
Exactly.
Wow,
We're
exactly.
kind of thinking around January, around the time of our very first anniversary, and around the time of our anniversary with our episode with you guys. Somewhere in that area would be, I think, perfect.
So we're leaning towards what, like an imperial porter or a stout?
Have
Yeah.
you guys ruled out things like, like strong ales and barley wines?
What about a foreign extra stout? Have you guys had any good examples of foreign extra stout before?
No, I'm not familiar.
What is
with
that?
What is that?
Foreign extra stout is a specific style of beer. Dogfish Head makes one. Obviously, I think Guinness also makes one as well. But it's basically, it's a really, really high ABV, really dark, rich, like almost think of along the veins of a Russian Imperial Stout, but a little bit on the drier side.
Now, Andrew, one thing from my perspective is, if we brew this beer, we will also have to sell it. So, we
You mean
can't
people aren't lining up around the blocks to buy foreign extra stout?
we've done a lot of
Golly gosh.
doing these crowdsourced beers. We've realized over the years, sometimes the beers don't sell as well as some of the other ones. So yeah, I definitely want to keep that in mind, that when we pull a beer off, if we're going to brew, a 30-barrel batch of it, which is the vessel right over there. Sorry, cue cameras. So if we're going to brew 30 barrels, that's 900 gallons. We'll be cranking out around 60 half-barrel kegs of it. And, tap room, that can definitely go through a bunch of it. We want to do either some cans or some bombers, depending on the style that we come up with, and then a few places around town. So
then,
as long as the people will want to drink it.
Is that another reason you go higher alcohol, just in case it does have to sit for a little bit?
Yeah, a lot of, from my home brewing days, I would always drink most of the keg, and then it's like, wow, this tastes perfect right now. After 3/4 of the keg is gone. Some of your bigger beers, they need a little bit more of that time to just sit and mature and mellow. So I would definitely recommend, if we are going to settle in that 8 to 12% range, that we probably would want that beer to sit and last out on the market for a little bit longer.